All right. All glory and praise to the Lord Yahawashi. My shot is gonna be part two, and we're gonna continue on where we left off. And where we left off, we were going into explaining the reason that Esau Edom today is why he lacks pigment, why he lacks melanation. Typically in the Edomites that we see today, like the typical Edomite that you do see will be lacking melanation, will typically, but not always, there's exceptions to the rule, so don't get stupid. But typically, he's gonna have blonde hair, or maybe black hair, really doesn't matter, but he's gonna typically have a lack of pigment. Now, like I said before, you do have cases where Esau can come in the spirit, and be, look Chinese looking, but, his spirit goes back to Edomite. But the typical Edomite look, is, blonde hair, blue eyes, looking devil. So we were explaining why that is and where that comes from. And really it comes from, it's really, like I said before in the first part, it's clean leprosy. It's clean leprosy. It's a plague, but it's clean leprosy. So he's able to, you could touch him and, you could lay down with an Edomite woman and not die and shit. So it's clean leprosy, but he still has a plague, and it's still a curse from the Most High. And it goes back into Genesis, going into Cain, who is the nation of the wicked. And during the flood, when all the nations were all put to death, and Noah and his sons repopulated the earth, the wicked nation known as Esau Edom was reborn in the earth again, reincarnated as Esau, and he carried that same pigment, that same plague that was given unto Cain, that same mark, which is that lack of pigment. All right, and he was also cursed to be low and to be in a confused state. All right, bugged out, So, but we're jumping to the point where here that Esau Edom was brought into the earth during the time of his birth and what he looked like. Now I'm gonna jump to the point. It says it's Genesis 25 and 25. It says, "And the first came out red." This is the eldest. This is the Esau. It says, "And the first came out red." Now when you look, just Google it. When Edomite children come out, they're red. They're actually not white like they say they are, and we're not black like they say we are. No, those are a play on words. Okay, everyone has a biblical nationality and identity within the scriptures, and we have been identified or coming back to the understanding, the water to the Lord, Yahawashi, as to our heritage, which is the nation of Israel. And Esau, Edom, is also has a biblical identity, or the so-called white man has a biblical identity, and it is Esau, Edom, at the end of the day. And he is a clean leopard, like it says here. Well, like we're finna get into. This is Genesis 25:24. It says, "And when her days were delivered, behold, there were twins in her womb." All right, but it was two manner of people, two manner of spirits. It's two different nations. Okay, and this is how Esau Edom was born back into the earth. Okay, and it says, and this is how the children of Israel were, pushed and brought about. It says in verse 25, "And the first came out red, and all over, like a hairy garment," because the garments that the ancient Israelites had, they used to dye the garments red. Okay, that's what that goes back to. And it says, "And they called his name Esau, Ishashua, because his skin was wasted away." Okay, he didn't have any pigment, but his brother, being Jacob, his brother did have pigment. And it says here in verse 26, and it's not really gonna say anything about Jacob's pigment or his skin color because he had melanin like everybody else do at that time, so it was not mentioned. But Esau Edom's pigment and his, him being red and things of that nature was mentioned because it was outside of the norm. All right, because like I said before, that same mark of Cain was brought back and put again on Edomites to identify them as the wicked. All right, but that's not only the only way to identify who the wicked is in the earth. All right, you gotta be able to do that by the Spirit as well. You can't just depend on your eyes to see and be like, oh, okay, he has white or so called. Yeah, he has so called what they would call white skin. So he has to be the wicked. No, because there are Israelites that can have the pigment of what we would call a so-called white person and be Jacob and be Israel. All right, but it's gonna be the Spirit. All right, the Spirit is gonna let us know. But typically, we understand that the wicked is gonna have a particular look about them. But that doesn't mean that they can't come looking some other way. Just like Jake can come looking many different type of ways. Keep that in mind. It says in verse 26, and his brother came out, Jacob, and he took hold of Esau's heel, because spiritually we're going to destroy Esau and we're going to take him down. All right, because right now we understand that Esau, Edom is in rulership of the earth, but we will take him down and we will claim rulership over the earth in our blessing that is written about in Genesis, I believe, 27 or 26. We're going to receive the kingdom. All right, the fatness of the earth, we're going to receive all that, and we're going to put them in slavery. And then after that, we're going to destroy them all after 1,000 years of hardcore bondage. All right, so it says, and Isaac was 70 years old when she bare them. All right, in verse 27, this is going into a few characteristics about Esau, because we're mostly, this video is really about Esau. It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. And we understand that Esau today, being a so-called white man, they have a keen eye to hunt, to game, taxidermy, being in the field. They have a particular outside smell. And sometimes they smell like outside, or they just smell awful in general. Typically they smell like outside, or they smell like a dog. And it says a man of the field. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. That means Jacob basically, he had everything he needed. He was sufficient. All right. But that's the main point I wanted to get right there. Let me see if I want to get any other point. Well, I definitely want to get some other points. Let's go into Numbers 12 and 10. Okay, hold on, Slot. This is Numbers 12 and 10, and this is going into an account where Miriam was talking shit against Moses, who at the time was, the Lord was dealing heavily with Moses and Aaron. But Miriam, was talking, we're finna get into it, and the Lord took away Miriam's pigment. Because Miriam was, was melanated. She had melanin. She was dark, Kadar, But to punish her, the Lord took away her pigment for a time, and we're gonna get into the account of what happened. It says, and the cloud departed off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous. So what you Edomites have is a form of leprosy, but it's a clean leprosy that the Lord put upon you as a mark, so that we can understand today who the wicked is. But though that is a mark to determine and understand, okay, this nation here, right here, these are the wicked. But we can't solely go off them being so-called lepers, or them being so-called white, and that's just the only thing that we go off. No, we don't just see a white person and be like, oh, a devil. No, we got to try the spirit by the spirit, because that potentially could be an Israelite that we're cursing out, that we're shaming, that we're calling out. So that's why we got to have understanding, all right? But predominantly and typically, majority of the time, like I said, but there are exceptions. The Edomites are going to come with a particular look, and they're going to have a lack of pigment, okay? Which is a curse, okay? Which is a plague, okay? And it says, and Miriam became leprous, white as snow, okay? And that's what you see today when you see, who's a white woman? Katy Perry, So, yeah, there's an example for you. It says, and Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And it says, and Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech you, lay not this sin upon us, where we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. And this is what he said about the leprous skin that Miriam has, that these Edomites have on a day-to-day basis, that you see them all the time. He said, let her not be as one dead, whom's flesh is consumed away, because Esau Edom, his flesh, Ishashua, his name Esau, Ishashua, his pigment is consumed away. His pigment, his skin is consumed, and everybody else has melanin, but he doesn't. All right, he's been cursed out of the earth, and it's a telltale sign. All right, but there's more signs to go off of. That's why we gotta try the spirit by the spirit. You know what I mean? But it says, "Has consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb." All right, and that's why I wanted to get on that. But I want to get another precept as well. So looking like a so-called white person is a curse even for Jake in these times. You would rather want to have your melanin, but we understand that through the mixing, and not the mixing of like, oh well, like in the terms of what the world think mixing is, like because the seed is declared by your father, so there's no such thing as of a mixed seed in general. You are what your father is, so that mixed seed is some bullshit. We can also get Leviticus, the 13th chapter, 29. Let's get Leviticus 29. We're gonna go into, just let you know that the what they do have is a form of a plague, and it is it's leprosy. It just so happened to be clean leprosy. We're gonna jump to the point. And also the hair that they have, typically it is blonde. That is also a recessive gene. All right, and that's why the sons of God have woolly hair like Yahawashi. He speaks about that in Revelations, the 1st chapter, and also speaks about that in Daniel's, giving the description of the Father. But it says here in verse 30, the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be a sight deeper than the skin, then there should be a yellow thin hair. All right, so these Edomites have the blonde yellow hair, and it's thin, and here in our biblical text, that this is unclean. All right, because we understand that Esau is an unclean man. He's profane. All right, but we gotta chill out, because some of our very own brothers have particular characteristics of Esau. Maybe their dad was already, was already, Salakia.